What's up, good people? Happy Tuesday. Happy day after Christmas. Is it? Is it? I think it is. It's all a blur. It's all a blur. Let me know that you can hear me by typing in the chat either share the love or justice for Dre. Share the love or justice for Dre to let me know that you can hear me in the chat. And today we are on day 1C, if I'm not mistaken, of the trial. And welcome to everyone who is viewing from Instagram, our Instagram people. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Just know that the chat messages that, well, I was going to say that you can see on the screen, but you cannot on your side, I'm noticing. But if you see me responding to polls, et cetera, we are on my YouTube channel, and that is at I am Vell B. Also pinned in my description area of Instagram. So if you want to join the chat and all of the interactions, come on over here to YouTube. Same with Facebook, but welcome everyone on Facebook and Instagram. Also, thank you to everyone who's letting me know on the Facebook side that you can hear me. That is Nicole Driver, Sagittariusly, his MJ, Drea, Marlena, Christina, Sabrina, Sony, and Darlena, and everyone else who's letting me know that they can hear me. Also, thank you to Christina Lambert for your super sticker. I really, really appreciate that, friend. Thank you so much. Okay, so today we're going to get right into it. For tonight's cast, well, I'll first let you know that we still have openings for additional cast people because we have so many roles here. And we also have space for understudies to step in if, anyone can't make it or any emergencies, etc. So if you are interested, you can text me via the VIP text community, 312-847-2346, and you can let me know that you're interested, and I'll give you further details on that. So for tonight, what we expect is to actually start with the testimony of Andre Montgomery's mother, Miss Michelle Griggs. She was actually the first person to be called during the trial. And so we're moving right out of the opening statements from both attorneys, which we did in the last episode right before Christmas. And now we are moving into the testimony. So starts with Michelle Griggs and completely just goes right into the testimony of everyone else. So tonight, what we have is for the roles, we have myself. I will be narrating and doing the commentary as usual. I will also be acting as the role of Judge John A. Ross, so the court. And for Angie Danis, who is the lead attorney for the USA, today we're going to have Margin playing that role during the testimony of Michelle Griggs, because Precious G will be acting as Michelle Griggs today. And then after that, Precious will switch back to her role as Angie Danis. Then we have Gwendolyn Carroll, who is the assistant attorney for the USA. Margin is playing that role, as well as Miss Rodriguez, Tim's assistant attorney. Actually, I think she's, again, the lead attorney, but I think she had Michael Leonard come in because he's a trial attorney. So Margin will be playing that role as well. As y'all see, there's a lot of roles. So we're juggling it between the four of us. So again, if you're interested in joining, hit me up on the text community. So, and then for Mr. Michael Leonard, who is Tim's attorney, Robert will be playing his role today. I'm not sure if he really even has many parts today, if any. Well, he might have some objections or something. And then defendant James Timothy Norman, which I don't expect anything from him today, but if it does come up, I'm pretty sure it's nothing. But if it does, I'm also playing the role of Tim, I didn't do it, Norman. So With that, we're going to move into me bringing up our cast for today. And moderators, you can continue to put comments. I wanted to pause them for a minute so I didn't cover up Miss Michelle Griggs' face. So first, we're going to pull in Robert, and then Margin, and Precious. And then I'm going to fix it. There we go. And so cast, we're going to start with where were we at? Hold on. Trying to slide it on over. We're on page 44, line 16. Page 44, line 16, and it starts with the court. Cass, we all good? Everybody ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Ready.
Sounds good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so the court. Counsel, you may proceed with your first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The government calls Miss Michelle Griggs.
And if you will step up here, the clerk will administer the oath. If you will speak into the microphone, it will help amplify your voice. Counsel, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Being produced and sworn testified as follows.
Yeah, you don't have to read that part. Just parts with your name. Yeah.
Sorry.
Now this part is you. So where it says Q, that's question.
Sorry.
So you're asking a question where it says A, that's going to be Michelle Griggs, Precious.
Sorry. Please introduce yourself to the jury.
My name is Michelle Griggs.
How old are you, Miss Griggs?
I am 55.
How many children do you have, Miss Griggs?
I have 6 children.
Is one of these children Andre Montgomery?
Yes.
And can you please show the witnesses the Exhibit 39? Can you see the photograph up there?
Quick pause, commentary. Margin, there's something going on with your signal. I'm not sure if are you on Wi-Fi or your cell signal? Because you're coming in and out.
Oh, okay. Hold on 1 second.
Mm-hmm. And then, so this part is when they're talking about Exhibit 39. So Exhibit 39 is actually the photo of Andre Montgomery. I'm not sure if it's this one. I have the exhibit number cut off of here. It could be this one, but there's also another. I'm pretty sure this is the one where they actually show the photo. So to Michelle Griggs, when they were talking to her and saying, do you recognize this photo? During her testimony, they literally showed her a picture of Andre in the morgue. So his body there. And it popped up on the screen. So the general audience in the court could not see it. But because during this time, because I didn't know they were going to go right into testimony, I was in the overflow in the media area. And so we saw it pop up on the screen, like you could see it on the side. And it was very jarring because you realize that that's his body and that's not like all the life pictures that we normally see. So, okay. So just so everyone knows, that's what you're showing her is a picture of him in the morgue.
So are we on line 12?
So, yes. So, yes. So we're on 15.
Okay. Do you recognize the photograph?
Yes.
Is that a picture of your son, Andre Montgomery?
Yes.
I move to admit Exhibit 39 into evidence.
Any objections, counsel?
None, Your Honor.
The Exhibit 39 will be admitted.
Can you please publish to the jury?
You may. So that means publish to the jury means now it's on the screen where they can see it as well. The picture of Andre in the morgue.
Miss Griggs, when was Andre born?
October 14th, 1993.
Where was he born?
San Diego, California.
Who's Andre's father?
Andre Montgomery, Sr.
And is Andre Montgomery Sr. still living?
No.
When did he pass away?
When Andre was 8 months old.
Do you know the defendant, James Timothy Norman?
Yes.
What do you know him as? What do you call him?
Tim.
Do you see him in the courtroom today?
Yes.
Can you please identify him by where he is seated and at the articles of clothing?
He's wearing a blue suit with a black sweater.
Your Honor, I ask the record to reflect that Ms. Griggs has identified the defendant.
So this was the first day in court. Tim had a blue suit and he had a black turtleneck on. So he either went from having turtlenecks on or his collared shirt. But they were saying he couldn't have ties because he was an inmate, and there are safety issues related to having things that you can tie around things, especially your neck. But anyway, the court says the record will so reflect.
Can you explain for us what your son, Andrew Montgomery, is related to Tim Norman, kind of your family tree?
Andre's father is Robbie Montgomery's oldest son and is Tim Andre Montgomery Sr.'s brother.
Okay. How would okay, so he would be Andre Montgomery Jr.'s uncle, is that correct?
Yes.
Now, did Andre graduate high school, your son Andre? And when I say Andre from now on, we will be referring to your son Andre.
Yes.
Did he graduate high school in 2013?
Yes.
Where do you live?
Lubbock, Texas.
Did Andre graduate from high school in Texas or here in St. Louis?
St. Louis.
Can you describe for us how it is that he moved from Lubbock to St. Louis?
He came down Thanksgiving and Andre wanted to stay with his grandmother, Robbie.
When he was in St. Louis, did he work at Miss Robbie's restaurant?
Yes.
What job did he hold there?
Busboy.
After he graduated high school, did he remain in St. Louis or did he come back to Lubbock, Texas?
He came back to Lubbock.
And then sometime in 2014, did he return to St. Louis?
Yes.
Can you explain for us how it is in 2014 that Andre moved back to St. Louis? Why did he do that?
Tim called me and asked me if he could bring Andre back so he could teach him how to be a man.
So it was Tim's idea to bring him back.
Yes.
Did the defendant ask you to provide any documents or anything like that on behalf of Andre?
Yes.
What were the documents?
His birth certificate, his social security card, and his high school diploma.
And where was Andre supposed to live when he got back to St. Louis?
With Tim.
And was it your understanding that Tim was supposed to be responsible for looking after Andre?
Yes.
And what kind of a job did Andre work when he was in St. Louis?
None. Just went to school.
How long did he remain in school?
Not long. 6 months, maybe.
Did Andre ever work as a music producer when he was in St. Louis?
Oh, no.
Did Andre, did you ever have knowledge of Andre working as a music producer?
No.
About how tall was your son, Andre Montgomery?
5'10",
Do you know about how much he weighs?
210.
To your knowledge, did Andre have any assets?
No,
Did he have $200 worth of assets? 200,000.
no, no,
Did did Tim Norman ever ask if he could take out a life insurance policy on your son?
no,
Let me ask you this. Did you have a policy on your son?
yes,
What amount was that policy for?
50,000.
Do you have policies on all your children?
Yes,
On March 14, 2016, did you learn that Andre had been murdered?
yes.
How do you find out?
Robbie called me and told me.
And Robbie being Andre's grandmother,
Yes,
were you in Lubbock at the time?
yes,
Did Tim call you?
no.
When was the first time Tim, after Andre's death, that you even spoke to the defendant?
At Andre's funeral.
What did he say to you?
I'm sorry for your loss.
At this time, after his murder, did the defendant tell you that he had a $450,000 life insurance policy on your son?
No.
When was the first time you heard that?
When I came here.
You heard that from law enforcement?
Yes.
Miss Griggs, I'm going to show you, just for the witness only, what I have marked Government Exhibit 62. What is that photograph, ma'am?
My son. Crying.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of the Government Exhibit 62 into evidence.
Okay, so I was wrong. 38, whatever that 30, whatever exhibit was this photo here that's currently on the screen. Exhibit 62 was the picture of Andre in the morgue, and that's why it says here that she was crying. So Michelle Griggs broke down, actually crying in that moment. Before then, she was solemn and she was answering the questions, but in this moment, she broke down crying and there was a pause. Also, happy birthday, Deshaun. I see y'all in the chat wishing Deshaun
Happy birthday, Sean.
Okay, so the court. Any objections, counsel?
No objection, Your Honor.
Exhibit 62 will be admitted. Take your time, ma'am. Is there some Kleenex there for her? So below the witness, in the witness box, there was some tissue he was pointing out for them to give to her.
Miss Griggs, any time when Andre was living in St. Louis with Tim, did the defendant ever express to you that he was concerned about Andre's lifestyle?
No.
Did he ever express to you that he was in danger?
No.
Miss Dennis, one moment. I have nothing further, Your Honor.
So the other piece I didn't mention in my last little commentary. So if you notice in the beginning, Tim is the one who beckoned for Andre to come back to St. Louis. And it seemed he told Michelle under the guise of having Andre come back to teach him how to be a man. However, you can see how conniving he was, because the truth was he really did that only to be able to create the life insurance policies on Andre, not fully being informed on what it really took and those sort of things. But that was why he asked Miss Griggs for Andre's birth certificate, his social security card, and high school diploma. He wanted all the things that he needed to have information on in order to have certain information for the life insurance policy. On top of that, he wanted Dre to physically be there. Supposedly, I'll because I keep forgetting this is transcript, so it'll go into some of that. But just hold that as a mental note that Tim beckoned for Andre to come back, saying he wanted to teach him how to be a man, but then wanted to get all this personal information from Miss Michelle at the same time. Mr. Leonard, Miss Rodriguez.
Do you want a minute, ma'am?
Okay.
And this is the cross-examination, everyone. So now Tim's attorney is cross-examining Miss Michelle Griggs.
Well, I just have a couple of questions for you, ma'am. When Tim, strike that, please. Let's just kind of step back a second. When Andre came back to Texas after finishing high school in St. Louis, he was kind of not being productive out there in Texas. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. For example, he was, I think, he had a part-time job at the tobacco shop. Now, is that correct?
Yes.
But in terms of his living arrangements, he was kind of, let's say, couch surfing from one friend's place to the next.
Yes.
Okay. And you told Robbie Montgomery, Tim's mother, that Andre really wasn't doing anything productive out there in Texas. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then you thought that Robbie must have told Tim that. Is that correct?
Objection, call for speculation.
Oh, sorry.
You can answer if you know, ma'am.
I don't know.
Well, ma'am, you had some meetings with these people here on my left, the prosecutors and the agents, right?
Yes.
And you sat down with them for about an hour. And they asked you a whole bunch of questions. Now, is that correct?
When?
You met with them in a conference room maybe about a year ago in 2021.
Yes.
Okay. And one of the things you told them when you met with them is that you thought Robbie Montgomery had conveyed your concerns to Tim Norman. Didn't you tell these folks that?
No.
You didn't tell them that, okay? Okay. And so when Tim calls and offers to mentor your son, you thought it was a good idea, didn't you?
Yes.
You thought it would be a way to hopefully get his life back on a productive path.
Yes.
And then, of course, Andre does move back here to the St. Louis area. Is that right?
Yes.
And one of the things that happens is that Tim gives him an apartment, kind of just down the hall from where he lived, right?
I didn't know exactly where he lived at.
Okay. But you did know that Tim got an apartment.
Yes.
And you knew that it was close to Tim. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you knew that Andre was able to get at least a part-time job at the Sweetie Pies when he came back here. Is that right?
I'm not sure.
Okay. You didn't know if he was working or not.
No.
Okay. But you knew when he came back here and was living back here again that he went to this music school. Is that right?
Yes.
Nellie's music school, right?
Yes.
Kind of a top place, right?
I just know it was Nellie's school.
And you thought it was a great thing that he was doing that. Is that right?
Yes.
And then unfortunately, things didn't work out at the school for Andre, right?
Right.
And so he stopped going to the school, right?
Yes.
And then he stopped working at Sweetie Pies. Is that also correct?
I'm not sure.
And were you aware that he had gotten into some trouble here?
No.
Okay. And Andre, you talked to him from time to time, right, ma'am?
Yes.
And he wouldn't tell you everything he was doing, would he?
What? No.
And
I mean,
sometimes
yes.
he and sometimes he wouldn't tell you what he was doing. Is that right?
Yes.
And sometimes you wouldn't communicate for periods of time, right, ma'am?
Yes.
And counsel asked you about this concept of an insurance policy. Did Andre tell you that he had sat down with a guy named Wally to give Wally information to create an insurance policy?
No. Objection. It's not the evidence.
She has answered the question no. So pose another question.
Sure. So you didn't know. Is it fair to say that this guy Wally that I had just mentioned, you have never heard of him?
No.
You did not know that he was an insurance agent here in St. Louis?
No.
And you didn't know that he had met with your son?
Objection. Facts, not in evidence.
The objection is sustained to the form of the question.
And then, ma'am, is it correct that after Andre had returned here, after he had stopped working at Sweetie Pies, and after he stopped going to the music school, that he was no longer here in St. Louis?
When?
I'm sorry.
When?
Yeah, when Andre comes back here after Tim called you and brought him back.
Huh?
As we said, he was here for a while, right?
Yes.
And at one point in time, as we said, he stopped working at Sweetie Pies, or stopped working here.
Yes.
He stopped going to the music school.
Yes.
And then he left St. Louis. Is that correct?
Yes.
And he left St. Louis for maybe 6 or 7 months.
I'm not sure.
Okay. When he was done for those 6 or 7 months, did you always know where he was?
I'm not sure.
Okay. You didn't know. For instance, what he was doing, or where he was living all that time, did you?
No.
Front door open.
Okay. I have nothing further, Judge.
Any other questions of the witness, Ms. Danis?
No, Your Honor.
You can step down, ma'am. Call your next witness.
Your Honor, the government called Special Agent Chris Faber.
Step up here, sir. If you would, the clerk will administer oath. And I'm trying to think who gonna play that. I didn't know.
Okay. All right. Your Honor, before the witness exam begins, can we just go over the exhibits we discussed during the pretrial conference? Because some of them will come up during this examination.
Counsel, if you approach the sidebar.
Your Honor, there's a number of 902 exhibits that we talked about during the pretrial conference.
These are court records?
Yeah, so, and the court has the exhibit list that has all of these designations on it.
We didn't object to them, Judge.
That was my understanding, was that there was no objection to public records.
Okay. Would you like me to go ahead and move those in at this time before the witness exams takes place?
You can actually say on record that by agreement of counsel, these public records are being admitted. These records are admitted if that's agreeable.
Sure, Your Honor.
While I have you up here, let me ask you a question. Do you know how long this witness may be?
Maybe about a half hour to 40 minutes.
Okay, and obviously you don't know how long you will be with the witness.
No. Could I just do my cross in the morning? Or do you want to go past 5?
I guess let's just see how it starts going. Do you have any idea how long you would be?
Well, I'm not sure how broad this scope is going to be, Judge.
Okay, I understand. We will just play it by ear.
Sure. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge.
Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, at this time, the government will move in evidence the following exhibits per the agreement of the parties: 5, 6, 6A, 7, 7A.
We're not gonna read all those.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, Your
So-
Honor, not 70A. 70A is not being moved into evidence. 80A3. Thank
So
you.
it was she she literally read out all the exhibits she was entering, and it basically goes from 5 all the way through 70A. So it's well over, I would say, probably 30 something to 40 pieces of evidence, and she had to call them out by number that she was admitting. Also, Christy Lambert's super chat is, why did they show the photo of the coroners? That was strategic on the part of the government because, as I stated, for one, they want to get that emotion not only from the witness, who is his mother, but also this is for the jury to see. So they want to have that level of impact for them, for the jury to tap into. This is a real person. Whereas if they're only showing pictures of Dre the way we see him on social media, etc., it's got a different kind of, the impact is a little different. So yes, it was heartbreaking because I was there, but I got from a legal strategic level, I definitely understood what they were doing there, and I was like, oh, they making it real here.
You ready for me to start?
Yeah, we can. I'm trying to think who's gonna do Chris Faber.
I mean, I can go back and forth as a dude, but I mean, you know.
Let me see. Who's actually examining him? Is it Carol or
It's
Daniel?
Carol, so I'm being Carol.
No, we you can jump to
You would be Faber? You want
yeah,
Marge,
you'll
I
be
do Carol?
Favor, and Margin, you can do Carol.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how we'll do that. Okay, that way I
Okay.
can stay in the judge mode and commentary mode. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm starting at line number 24 up here. Any objections to any of those exhibits? They are largely records. Any objections?
No, Your Honor, no objections.
Counsel, those exhibits will be admitted in evidence. You may display them as appropriate. Special Agent Faber being produced in Swan. So now Special Agent Faber, who was a part of the, I don't have a picture of him, but he was the investigator. I think he was the lead investigator on this case, but we'll find out in a minute. And he is being examined by Attorney Gwendolyn Carroll, who is with the U.S. Attorney's Office.
Special Agent Faber, could you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Special Agent Christopher Faber, FBI, St. Louis Division.
Special Agent Faber, where do you work?
St. Louis Field Office, Violent Crimes, Task Force.
And is that a Federal Bureau of investigation?
Yes, it is.
How long have you been a special agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation?
13 years.
And you said you're currently assigned to which?
Violent Crimes Task Force, St. Louis Division.
Prior to working with the Violent Crime Task Force, where did you work at the FBI?
A variety. I've worked with violent crimes off and on. I've also worked with counterterrorism, international terrorism.
Are you involved in the investigation of the defendant Tim Norman in connection with Andrew Montgomery's homicide?
Yes, I am.
As a part of the investigation, did you seize the mobile phone of the defendant Tim Norman?
Yes, I did.
Did you obtain a search warrant for that telephone?
Yes, I did.
Where was the telephone on Mr. Norman's person at the time you seized it?
It was seized at the time of his arrest. It was in his pants pocket.
After you obtained a search warrant for Mr. Norman's phone, did you go about taking photographs of the contents of the telephone?
I did.
Okay. What was the process of taking those photographs of the defendant Norman's mobile phone?
I used the FBI issued digital camera. I captured images of various contact cards, text messages strings, phone logs from his phone.
Did anything about the process of taking those photographs change the content or the data of Mr. Norman's phone?
No. Ever since we've had the phone, we've had it in airplane mode so that no data can come in or out of the phone.
Special Agent Faber, I'm going to hand you permission to approach, Your Honor.
You may.
Government Exhibit 2A through 2T.
Again, you can identify the exhibits again. 2A through T.
2T.
Okay, 2A through 2T.
And 4A through 4K.
Thank you.
Special Agent Faber, are you familiar with the government's exhibit 2A through 2T?
Yes, I am.
What are these?
These are photos I captured of Mr. Norman's cellular phone.
And do these photographs accurately reflect the content of Mr. Norman's phone?
Yes, they do.
Miss Carroll, Your Honor, at this time we move to admit 2A
Yeah, I
through
have to read all
2T.
those. Yeah. Any objection to those exhibits?
No, Your Honor, no objection.
Okay, and just for the audience, she admitted, what was that, somewhere around 12, 13 various exhibits. And if I'm not mistaken, these would have been screenshots of Tim Norman's, we'll know for sure, but I think they may have been the screenshots of his text messages between him and all his co-conspirators. They will be admitted into evidence.
Okay, Special Agent Faber, as part of the FBI investigation in this case, did the FBI also take custody of the victim Andre Montgomery's phone?
Yes, we did.
Did you also take photographs of the content communication on Andre's phone?
Yes, I did in the same fashion. It was also in airplane mode since we have taken custody of it.
Did anything about your process of photographing the contents of the phone change the contents of the phone?
No.
Special Agent Faber, uh, if you will take a look at the binder with exhibits 4A through 4K, have you previously reviewed government's 4A through 4K?
Yes, I have.
What are they?
These are the photographs I took of Andre Montgomery's cellular phone.
And do they actually reflect the contents of Mr. Montgomery's phone?
Yes, they do.
Where was the phone recovered?
from the inside the residence at the scene of Andre Montgomery's murder.
Your Honor, the government moves 4A through 4K into evidence.
Okay, and she admitted about 10 pieces of evidence, and Judge Ross says, so again, that's 4A through 4K?
That's right, Your Honor.
Any objections, counsel?
No, Your Honor, no objections.
And also, I just realized that I did have pictures of Faber, because I've been there, and yeah, I forget all these people. But anyway, he is the one in the red tie that is currently on your screen. So that is who is currently testifying. He is the hero who actually physically arrested Tim Norman on that fateful day back in 2020, August of 2020. So he deserves a round of applause, hand clap emojis in the chat, please, for Special Agent Faber.
That's me.
What am I going to say? Exhibits 4A through 4K will be admitted.
Special Agent Faber, let's go back to the photos you took of the defendants, Tim Norman's phone. Could you please publish to the jury 2A, Special Agent Faber? What is the jury looking at here?
Government's Exhibit 1. That's the cellular phone that I seized from Mr. Norman at the time of his arrest.
Could we go to 2B, please? What does that picture show?
Real quick. So what that means when they're saying publish, there is a person who's controlling these presentation, the slide, any images that are appearing on the screen. And the government had a young lady sitting there. I think she was from their office. She looked like an intern type. She would be putting those things on the screen. And so when you hear the attorneys seem to be directing someone on forwarding or going back or something, they're talking to that person who is controlling the images on the screen.
Could you please go to 2C? Could we zoom on the top there, Special Agent Faber? What is the phone number that was assigned to the phone that you seized from Mr. Norman?
Well, this would be the home screen for Mr. Norman's cellular phone. And then 209-822-0081.
Are you aware of the subscriber and the registered user is?
Yes.
Of the phone number?
Yes, I am.
Could you please pull up side by side Exhibit 6A? Please zoom in on the 0081 registration. Special Agent Faber, what is the jury looking on the record that appears on that box on the lower half of the screen?
Subscriber records for the cellular number 209-822-0081, listing the user as James T. Norman.
And is that the same phone number that shows up on the assigned number screen of the phone that you seized from Mr. Norman?
Yes, it is.
Special Agent Faber, as a part of your examination of this phone, did the photograph communication between Mr. Norman and a contact he saved as Wally new?
Yes, I did.
Please pull up government 20. Can you zoom in on the contact? What are we looking at here, Special Agent Faber?
This is a contact card from Mr. Norman's phone with the name saved as Wally New and the mobile number assigned of 314-606-6960.
And what is the address, that email address that is assigned to that contact?
WallyMillions@yahoo.com.
Are you aware of the subscriber is to that 6960 phone number?
Yes, I am.
Could you please pull up government 12 side by side with the exhibit 2012 page 4, Special Agent Faber? What is that exhibit that appears on the lower half of the screen in front of the jury right now? Government 12?
This subscriber's records for the cellular number 314-600-6960, listing the user as Wally Yagam.
And is the number saved as a contact in a defendant Norman's phone?
Yes, it is, as Wally knew.
Can you please go to the first picture that appears in the government's Exhibit 20? You can pull down 12. Special Agent Faber. Before we zoom in, let me just ask you one question. The test up that appears in the top corner, the time stop that appears on the top corner of the screen, right there, indicating what is that time stop.
That's the actual time of when I was reviewing the phone.
So does that time have a connection to the actual content of the communication that are reflected in 20?
No, it does not.
Can we zoom out, please, Special Agent Fiber? Who are those communications between?
This is a series of text messages between the user of Mr. Norman's cell phone in the context saved as Wally knew.
What is the date of that text message?
September 17th, 2014.
Could you please read for the jury the message that appears on the screen there?
Mr. Norman, Wally, I need a life insurance policy on my nephew, bro. Mr. Yogden, okay, when? Mr. Norman, soon as you get paperwork together. He's 19, just moved in from Texas last week and got him in EI with Carl.
Special Agent Faber, can you review all of the communication with Norman's phone between Mr. Norman and Mr. Yagnam?
Not every single one.
And is this communication on September 17th? Is that the first time life insurance is mentioned between Mr. Norman and Mr. Yagnam?
Yes, it is.
Who is initiating the conversation?
Mr. Norman.
Okay. Can you please go to the page of 20, Special Agent Faber? What is the date of the communication between the defendant, Mr. Norman, and Mr. Yagnam?
October 7th, 2014.
Can you please read through that string?
Mr. Norman, where you at? Where you at, bro? Mr. Youngman. North side, Mr. Norman. Damn, laughing out loud. The one time I'm in the county, you're in the city. I've got them with me. What info do you need so we can link? We can just sign the papers and be done. Don't want to talk about it in front of him.
Special Agent Faber, are you aware of whether life insurance policies of which Mr. Norman was the beneficiary of, Andrew Montgomery was the insured? Were these applied for at around the same time of the communication?
Yes, they were.
Okay, real quick. So when Tim is responding, don't want to talk about it in front of him. The him he is referring to is Andre. So he doesn't want to talk about signing papers. He doesn't want to do any of that around Andre. Okay, go ahead.
Could you please go to page 3, photograph 3, Special Agent Faber? What is the date of these communications?
October 27th, 2014.
Can you please read through these for the jury?
Mr. Yarkman, I tried to call you. Call me, Mr. Norman. What's up with the policy, okay? And then there is a pause in the conversation on October 31st, 2014. Mr. Norman, policy? Mr. Yarkman, you should have it by next Friday. They will call you on Monday. Act like you are Andre.
Special Agent Faber, let's switch to the photograph you took of Andres Montgomery's phone. Can you please go to Exhibit 4B, Special Agent Faber? What were we looking at on 4B here?
This is setting user information for Andres Montgomery's phone, listing the phone as Dre's iPhone.
Could you go to 4C, please? What is the Apple ID that shows up in 4C, Special Agent Faber?
This is iCloud information for the phone that was taken from the scene of Andre Montgomery's murder. Listed the Apple ID of Andre Montgomery 97 at Yahoo.
And where was the phone seized?
From the residence of the scene of Andre Montgomery's murder.
Could you please go to 4G? What is the contact that is saved in Mr. Andre Montgomery's phone?
This contact card is assigned to name Grandma with the mobile phone of 314-570-4696.
Do you know who the registered user of that phone number is, Special Agent Faber?
Yes, I do.
Please go to Exhibit 10, page 5. That is the record that the jury has in front of it right now, Special Agent Faber.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Page,
These are,
sorry.
is it my turn?
Yeah, line
Okay.
16.
Okay, these are subscriber records for cellular number 314-570-4696. Listen to user Robbie Montgomery, the grandmother of Andre Montgomery.
And is Robbie Montgomery the contact saved as grandma on Andre's phone?
Yes, it is.
Can we please go to the messages that appear in the second photo? What is the circumstances or the background of this conversation? If you know, Special Agent Faber.
Around the time of these text messages, there was a burglary that occurred at Robbie Montgomery's residence, and the stream of text messages refer to Andre's willingness to take a polygraph in relation to that burglary.
Who is the speaker in the gray bubbles?
That would be Robbie Montgomery.
Could you please read through the messages for the jury?
If you can just read slowly as you go through them, thank you.
Yes, sir. Robbie, call me so you can take the test now. The police wants to
Not
talk
that
to you.
slow. He just meant for the stenographer to be able to catch the notes.
Um,
That's all.
um, they're waiting. I think you're playing games, but I hope you never need me again. I called you right back and you didn't answer. If you're not guilty, then why are you running?
Special Agent Faber, if you know, what is the test being discussed here?
Objection to foundation and hearsay.
You can answer if you know, sir.
I believe it's the polygraph test that Mr. Norman took when he came to town.
Mr. Norman, or
Excuse me, Andre Montgomery.
was that a polygraph examination in connection with that burglary?
Correct.
Could you please go to the response that Mr. Montgomery has?
Andre Montgomery, what are you talking about? Ain't nobody running from nothing. I haven't been in y'all's way. That's why I've been out of town because you don't believe me. I'm not about to get hurt from nobody for some shit I didn't do. But nah, I'm not in town. I said that because I don't know who's all around you. I'm not telling you. You know Tim is after me or something. I didn't do nothing. I have nothing to do with any of this. I haven't been on here on that side of town. But I see you not doing nothing unless they question me first. Like I said, Grandma, I'm not running. I just don't want to get hurt.
Can you go to the next text communication with "I called you back" all the way down, Special Agent Faber? Can you please read that through the string?
Andre Montgomery. And my phone was dead. I'm just now cutting it on. Right, Montgomery. I called you right back. You say you're going to take the test. You disappeared. What would you think? You say you're in St. Louis now. You say you ain't.
And how does Andre Montgomery respond?
Andre Montgomery, you all say my phone tapped. I don't want people coming looking for me. I'm telling you, Grandma, I didn't do none of this. I'm protecting myself. If you need me to come in town, I can. But what I do, I'm coming in town for one day. I'm leaving back out. Just take the test, and that's all. Like I said, I'll take the test. I'm not just about to be sitting in St. Louis where I know Tim got people looking for me.
Special Agent Faber, what is the date of those communications between Andre Montgomery and his grandmother?
I'm sorry, can we go back to the date on the first page from June 29th, 2015?
Could we please go to 2N, Special Agent Faber? Are we looking at Andre Montgomery's phone right now or Tim Norman's phone?
This is Mr. Norman's phone.
What are we looking at in Exhibit 2N, page 1?
The contact card saved the name Travell Nephew with the number of 314-882-2501.
Can we please go to page 2? The final message that appears on the screen. Special Agent Faber, what is that message right there? Who is sending it?
Travell Nephew stated Dre accepted the request on Instagram.
So, who is Travell Nephew saying Dre accept the request on Instagram? To who is he telling that to?
Mr. Norman.
Can we please go back to the date of this string? What is the date of the Travell Nephew? Tell Mr. Norman Dre accept the request on Instagram.
June 17th, 2015.
And is that just within a couple of weeks of that message we just saw with Andre saying he knows Tim has people looking for him?
Yes.
And this message, Dre accepted request on Instagram. Who sent that to Mr. Norman?
Travell Hill to Mr. Norman.
Let's go to Exhibit 2P, Special Agent Faber. I know we have looked at this Wally New contact again, but can uh, but can you remind the jury whose phone is the Wally New contact saved on?
This is saved on Mr. Norman's phone.
Okay, can we go to 2P page 2, please, Special Agent Faber? What did this communication occur between Wally, Yagman, and Mr. Norman?
March 16th, 2015, approximately a year before Andre's murder.
And are you aware of whether additional life insurance applications were applied for from the defendant Norman around the time of the communication with Mr. Yegman?
Yes, they were.
Objection. Hearsay.
Okay, so you guys see some of the pieces that are coming together. So, and keep this in mind that Travell has tr- reached out to follow Andre on social media. Andre accepts his follow, and then Travell immediately sends Tim a message saying that Andre accepted his follow on social media. So now Travell is tracking Andre and letting Tim know that he's tracking Andre. But later we'll see a whole thing in the with Travell's testimony in regards to what he says Tim did and did not tell him. So jumping back in here, Judge Ross said the objection is sustained as to the foundation.
Special Agent Faber, are you familiar with the 5 life insurance applications that have been admitted in evidence in the court?
Yes, I am.
Are you familiar with the dates of the application?
Yes.
Are these communications between Mr. Norman and Mr. Yegnam around the time of additional applications by Mr. Norman?
Yes.
Special Agent Faber, please read through these texts and indicate who speaker is.
Mr. Yagman, I just contacted with this other company. I can get better cash value on Andre's policy and more coverage for what you are paying. Do you want me to transfer it? Instead of 200K, it'll be 300K, Mr. Norman. Will he have to resign shit? Resign? Mr. Yagman, nah, I could transfer.
Please go to page 5 of 2P. What is the date of these communications between Mr. Norman and Mr. Yugnam?
September 23rd, 2015.
Is that around the time of additional life insurance application by Mr. Norman?
Yes, it is.
Can you please read through these communications between Mr. Norman and the life insurance agent, Mr. Yagman?
Mr. Yagman, Andre Montgomery's
Yes.
social security number
Don't read
four
it.
nine three.
Don't
Okay,
read
I
it.
will. Okay, I will. Date of birth. I'm sorry. Date of birth 10/14/1994. The last time he went to the doctor was in October 2014 for a physical at Barnes Jewish Hospital. Called Mutual of Omaha to do an interview, man. We may have to make Andre the owner of the policy, and then I'll switch names in 6 months. They won't let you be the owner off top, Mr. Norman. No, that ain't gonna work. Don't switch owner. Leave it alone then, Mr. Yogman. He don't have to know.
Special Agent Faber, uh, did you did these communications between Mr. Norman and Mr. Yegnam occur about the 3 months after the travel nephew told Mr. Norman that Dre had accepted his request on Instagram?
Yes, they do.
Can we please go on to the top of the string of the photos, 2 on page 5?
Mr. Norman, he might not make it 6 months, bro. Not kidding.
When were these communications sent by Mr. Norman, Special Agent Faber?
Approximately 5.5 months before Andre Montgomery was murdered.
Please go to the 2P, page 6, string beginning on September 28, 2015. Special Agent Faber, what dates are the communications between Mr. Norman and Mr. Yegnam?
September 28th, 2015, 5 days after the previous messages.
Is that about 5.5 months after before Andre Montgomery was murdered by Trevell Hill?
Yes, that's correct.
And is that about 3 months after Trevell nephew told Mr. Norman Andre had accepted his request on Instagram?
Yes.
Can you please read through the string for the jury?
Can you, okay, Mr. Youngman, what's up, man? This is Wally. If you could do me a huge favor and get those interviews done today, I would really appreciate it. I want a trip if you do. We can do it on a three-way call and knock it out. And if you let me handle all your employees, we could talk about kickbacks. I know you're busy, Mr. Norman. Man, I'm worried about that thing, bro. I don't want to be recorded on that call. Shit has changed.
How does Mr. Yegnan respond?
Oh, okay.
How long after the message was Andre Montgomery murdered?
5.5 months later.
Please go to Exhibit 2R. Looking at the contact there, Special Agent Faber, is that a contact that the defendant has saved on his mobile phone?
Yes, this is from Mr. Norman's phone.
What is the contact we are looking at there? Here.
Charles New, October 2014. His cell number.
Are you aware of who the user of the phone number is?
Yes, it is Charles Crenshaw, a cousin of Mr. Norman's.
Please go to page 1, Special Agent Faber. Who is in the gray bubbles here?
Mr. Crenshaw,
What dates are the communications between the defendant and his cousin, Charles Kershaw, occurring?
January 2nd, 2016, approximately 2 months prior to Andre's murder.
Can you please read through these texts?
Mr. Crenshaw, Tim, I need your help again. I know you are having a hard time too, but I need help getting my car out. It is $1,300. I tried to do everything I could to get it out without asking, but nothing helped. I just need a loan. I promise I'll give it back on my first check. I wouldn't ask, but the longer it stays, then the higher it gets. Mr. Norman, what happened to it? Mr. Crenshaw, it got picked up at a meter for too many tickets, so I have to pay them all to get it out. Mr. Norman, no ho. 10,000 Lindbergh, 7,500, Natural Bridge, 4,500. It
Let me
continues
explain
with the
that.
list.
Yeah, let me explain that. So what Tim is saying here when he's telling his response to Charles is uh look at all my bills. I got 10,000 I owe at the NoHo location that was open at the time, 7,500 at the Lindbergh location, and 4,500 at the Natural Bridge location. And then he continues to list his expenses. So he like, I don't have it because I got, look at my expenses and running them down. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Listen. Oh, sorry. Line 4. Who's reading that?
It's still me,
Oh,
Mr.
sorry.
Norman. That's why I have to pay this month. Who's going to help me? And that's up. Mr. Crenshaw, 91,500. Mr. Norman, that's my bill every month. I'm being evicted from my St. Louis apartment. So I'll be moving my shit out now, selling my bike, selling some other cars, clothes, jewelry, etc. Mr. Norman continues, I'm not getting paid since we ain't filming. They haven't gave me a deal yet on these other restaurants. Plus, Mama keep trying to sue me, saying she wants money from Lindbergh and NoHo. So I got to keep paying these lawyers to stop her. Mr. Crenshaw, okay, I get it. You have a lot to pay for.
Special Agent Faber, are you aware whether the defendant Norman was a beneficiary on a $450,000 life insurance policy that at the time he sent these messages to his cousin?
Yes, he was.
About how long after Mr. Norman sent the list of his expenses to his cousin and said he was getting evicted, how long after that did Travel Hills shoot Andre Montgomery?
Approximately 2 months later.
Please go to the government 2E, Special Agent Faber. What is the contact from Mr. Norman's phone?
A contact card saved as Big Ed, Rough Riders Bike Club, Sweetie Pies.
Do you know who the registered user is of the Big Ed phone number contact?
I do. It's Eddie Chandler, who used to work for Mr. Norman at Sweetie Pies for doing security.
Please go to the photographs that appear uh, beginning March 6th, Special Agent Faber. What is the date of those text messages from Ed Charles to the defendant?
March 6, 2016, 8 days before Andre was murdered.
What does Mr. Chandler tell the defendant's Norman?
Mr. Chandler, you in St. Louis followed by a series of photographs.
Special Agent Faber, do you know where the photographs were taken or who they depict?
The male in the photographs is Andre Montgomery inside a Sweetie Pie St. Louis location.
And how many days before Andre murder did Ed Chandler take pictures of Andre in St. Louis to the defendant?
So clarity on this one. So Ed had been told to look out for Andre showing up back in St. Louis. And he said if Big Ed was told by Tim, if he shows up at the restaurants, let me know. So what Big Ed was doing while he's doing his regular security duties, Andre comes there and he actually comes with a young lady. He's back in town. And Big Ed started taking photos from his phone of the security camera showing Andre talking to the employees and at the counter ordering food, etc. And he texts Tim those pictures. So that's what they're referring to here.
Is it line 20?
I thought we did that already. 8 days prior to his murder.
Oh, sorry. Uh, please go to 2F. What are we looking at here in Special Agent Faber?
This is the contact card in Mr. Norman's phone the name Chris 2 mobile number.
Who is that registered user of that 0616 Chris 2?
Serial number, the user is Chris Carroll.
So, who are the text communications sent by? Who is the registered user of this text in 2F?
Chris Carroll.
And who is he speaking to?
Mr. Norman.
Please go to the message sent March 6, 2016 in 2F, Special Agent Faber. Can you please walk the jury through the communication from Chris Carroll to the defendant Norman?
These messages again are sent on March 6, 2016. Mr. Carroll, are you there? Hello, Mr. Norman, I'm alive. Mr. Carroll, you know I ain't calling twice in a row for nothing. Mr. Norman, I see. Ed just sent the pics.
Special Agent Faber, are these messages exchanged at about the same time that Ed Charles texted those photos of Andre Montgomery?
Yes, they are.
And how far in advance of Andre Montgomery's murder did these exchanges occur between Chris Carroll, Ed Chandler, and a defendant Norman?
8 days prior.
Can we please go back to 4G, page 3? Now, whose phone are we looking at now? Are we looking at Mr. Norman's phone or Mr. Montgomery's phone?
Andre Montgomery's phone.
Is this part of his communication with Robbie Montgomery?
Yes, it is.
What is the date of these messages?
March 8th, 2016, 2 days later.
Can you please walk the jury through these messages?
Andre Montgomery, I'm in town. When can we take that test? Robbie Montgomery, I'll set it up for today. I'll call you back. Text me a number.
Special Agent Faber, if you know, what is the test being discussed?
A polygraph test.
And did Andre Montgomery come back and voluntarily take a polygraph?
Yes, he did.
Objection, relevance, inadmissible. Counsel,
Excuse me, my screen slipped. Where are we reading now?
We are moving to line 21.
Okay,
Sidebar approach. Explain to me how it is. And then line 21. Yes.
Sorry. Robert, did you
Are
find it?
Are they going to try to admit the results of the polygraph?
No.
Then why are they talking about it?
Because he opened on that.
Because what?
That was in your opening.
I talked about the polygraph test in the opening. I didn't say a single word about it.
Tell me how it is admissible.
Your Honor, it is admissible because it is part of Andre's plan. It explains that he is coming back in town, and his purpose of motive for coming back into town is to take the polygraph examination. It is consistent with this court's ruling on the motion of in Lyman that Andre's statement as to his plan, his intent, and the next step he is going to take are admissible. They are not offered for their truth.
So are you going to even ask him if he actually took the test or what the results are?
No, just he voluntarily came back in town, and he gives the reason there.
He came back to take the polygraph test?
Yes.
Tell me how that isn't admissible. It is not for the truth of the matter. Is it not for the truth of the matter?
Well, that's fine, Judge. My continuing objection, though, is to have the witness sit on the stand, put an email in front of him, and have him testify to his interpretation of the contents. You can have him talk about what it says, but he can't give his interpretation of someone else's emails. All he can do is admit them because he has no personal knowledge of what the contents mean.
I don't disagree with you, but I don't know that anything.
That's what they are continuously doing.
I don't think that's just if you have any objections on a particular question, make it, and I'll rule on it. But as I see it, I have heard he has been reading them. He has been asked about the test, and I said he can answer if he knew. He indicated he knew.
He knows by hearsay, Judge.
You can show it as an objection. You are going to have to object.
Understood, Judge.
So that I know, just so that you know, I'm going to try to finish his direct examination and then recess for the day.
We're on the very last.
Okay. Thanks, Judge.
Special Agent Faber, if you know, did Andre Montgomery come back into town and voluntarily offer to take a polygraph?
Yes, he did.
Can we please go back to 2F, and can you go back to the string from March 13, Special Agent Faber? Who are those messages between, and whose phone are we looking at?
We're looking at Mr. Norman's phone, and this is a message between Mr. Norman and Chris Carroll on March 13, 2016, the day before Andre was murdered.
Can you walk the jury through the messages between the defendant and Chris Carroll the day before Andre was murdered?
Mr. Norman, 12:10. Mr. Carroll, I'll be there. What turn? Mr. Norman, American. I'm getting the truck. Mr. Carroll, okay.
Question. Agent Faber, looking at the messages, these continue between Mr. Carroll and Mr. Norman. Can you walk the jury through these, please?
These messages are March 14, 2016 at 12:06 a.m. on the date of Andre Montgomery's murder. Mr. Carroll, you close? Mr. Norman, landed. Mr. Carroll, I'm circling. Mr. Norman, I'm gonna come top where you drop off. That's okay, Mr. Carroll, okay. I'm the American departures up top, entry 5, in between 4 and 5. Mr. Norman, okay.
Special Agent Faber, where was those messages taking place?
Approximately 20 hours before Andre was murdered.
And if you are aware, does the defendant fly into town hours before Andre Montgomery was murdered on March 14th?
Yes, he did.
Sorry.
I jumped.
No further questions. Actually, Your Honor, I do have one matter. We would like to admit Government Exhibit 1 and 3, which the phones that they were photographed by Special Agent Faber.
I'm sorry?
We would like to admit Governments 1 and 3, which are the phones that were photographed by Special Agent Faber.
Any objections to Exhibit 1 and 3?
No, Judge.
Exhibits 1 and 3, which are the phones, are admitted in evidence. You can step down. We will break for the day, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to, and then the witness says, thank you. That was Faber. The recess for the day. I know that it has been a long day for you. We appreciate your patience and understanding as we went through the selection process and started the case. I want to tell you how much we appreciate your service. I want to give you a couple of directions. First of all, from now on, after each recess or adjournment of court, when you come back, you will report to the jury room and not the courtroom. Each time you come to the courtroom, you will take the exact same seat that you are in right now. For anyone who's not clear, Judge Ross is talking to the jury right now. And so remember where you are sitting, who you are sitting next to. Remember which seat you are in. And then he gives them more instructions. And I'm just jumping down. Talking about lunch. He says, I'm jumping down to line 19. He says, what I have to ask the clerk to do, and they have agreed. They are going to order a variety of sandwiches, and we're going to have those for you. If you want to take advantage of those, we are going to have an assortment of 15 sandwiches, so everybody can have a sandwich. We will have soft drinks for you. Obviously, I understand you may want to go outside for lunch breaks from time to time, but I want to give you the option so that you don't have to hunt around for lunch. So I'll mention that to you. And then he talked about them having a refrigerator back there. So if they wanted to bring something to eat, that's all housekeeping stuff. So jumping down to page 89 and line 8. He also reminded them also again about not consuming any media, don't look up anything, all that stuff. And then he goes on to say, I'm going to ask that you be back in the jury room at 8:45 a.m. tomorrow morning. Mr. Burnson will walk you back there. He is going to show you the way out. And again, I appreciate your patience as we have gone through this. We will be in temporary recess until 8:45 tomorrow morning. And then at 5:10 p.m., the proceedings stood in temporary recess. And then Judge Ross continued by saying the court will be back in session if you will be seated for a few minutes. So they always let the jury go out first and then us. So we would be waiting less than 2 to 3 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you in the gallery, that's those of us in the audience, I'm going to ask that you stay here in the courtroom for about 10. Oh, it was 10 minutes. It didn't feel like 10 minutes. 10 minutes to let the jurors clear the floor. Maybe because I was so busy trying to wrap up my notes, whatever I was forgetting, or like, oh, let me finish this line or whatever. I don't want them to be uncomfortable. I don't want you to be uncomfortable riding on the elevator with them. So if you will wait here for about 10 minutes, we will let them clear the floor. And I appreciate you understanding as we allow that. While we are in session, anything further on the behalf of the government?
Not right now, Your Honor.
Anything further on the behalf of the defendant?
Just more of a housekeeping issue, Your Honor. Could possibly tomorrow we have the witnesses seated that they have to do cross-examination or direct examination on? It seems kind of weird to me. They come from nowhere to do that.
Okay, all right. I'm happy to do that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, anything else with regards to exhibits, anything?
Sorry, go ahead. Do you want to read it? The only other thing that the business record I made it 79, but we can.
I'm sorry, say that again.
The long list of business records I omitted 79, but we can move it in tomorrow.
Okay, that's fine. Any objections to Exhibit 79?
No, Your Honor.
Can you pronounce your name for me? Oh, who's Miss Killian? Precious? Miss Killian?
Miss Killian?
We got a new character. We got a new character.
Give me 1 second. I was pulling up the other script. Give me 1 second. My bad. I was getting
I'll
ready for
do
the
it.
next one. Okay.
Killian. Okay.
Killian.
And it is Miss Killian, is that correct?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. We will be in temporary recess. Thank you. So the proceedings concluded at 5:12 p.m. and that was our day. So, and that's going to bring our reading for tonight to a close. and then we'll start tomorrow with the fresh day of transcript.
Cross-examination.
What's that?
It's cross-examination tomorrow, right? It starts with Mr. Leonard tomorrow?
Sure does, right, because he didn't finish, correct. So, yeah, cross-examination of Special Agent Faber, and then we'll move into whoever's next. But what I'm going to do is start looking ahead, and some of the people, I'll let you know who the witnesses were. But after Faber, we start to slowly move into the technical people, and that's beyond what we are going to do with this transcript reading. So, but I'll at least sum up all the witnesses for y'all, and then we'll continue to move through. I'm going to do some questions here that may have been starred. Thank you again to Christina Lambert for your super sticker friend. I greatly appreciate you. And we talked about your comment here about the coroner's picture. Nicole is saying he wasted no time getting that policy in the work. Right. As in Tim Norman, literally, what was that? Within a week or two of Andre coming back to town after. So I don't know if it was clear for everyone, but Andre graduated high school. We saw that on the TV show. Andre then was basically shipped back to Texas, and he was in Texas and wasn't really being productive. And so Tim supposedly wanted to teach him how to be a man and asked for him to come back to St. Louis. And that's where all of this started happening, with him starting to get the insurance policy and all of that. But we see that literally as soon as Andre got back to town, after he convinced after Tim convinced Miss Michelle that he was going to teach him how to be a man, immediately he's trying to get a life insurance policy in his name without the permission of anybody. So that shows that that's what he was on the whole time. That was the reason why he beckoned to have him come. Right. Precious is Precious G being every woman. Right. Playing them roles. Thank you, friend. Old Soul is saying Tim made it look like Dre's mom initiated Dre going to St. Louis. Tim is conniving. Yeah. But, you know, he was also accused of doing things like that by Danielle Champion, who was the social media, the girl with the long hair, the light-skinned girl, who was Tim's assistant on the show, but come to find out it was all fake. She was not his real assistant. She was hired to be an actress on the show. But she talked about how manipulative Tim was and how he would create drama between people just out for ish and giggles, just because he was manipulative like that. And that's why she never liked him. And they were never more than co-workers or colleagues. Act like you're Andre. Wow. Yes, Nicole. So we actually do get to hear, well, I don't have it for y'all because they didn't give that to me. But Tim, we heard during the trial, Tim being recorded calling the insurance company, acting like he was Andre. Clearly, just like y'all, we all know Tim's voice. So it was clearly Tim calling, faking like he was Andre, calling the insurance company. Craziness. I didn't realize those messages from Robbie were entered into evidence. Yes, sure. That's actually how we got a hold of them. We got a hold of them because they were public record based on the trial. So when I did a video on them way back whenever, I got them from Pacer. That's exactly how I got them. Robbie needs to be thankful she wasn't called to testify. Yeah, that would have been interesting. She was supposed to testify, and you saw it in Tim's attorney, Michael Leonard's opening statement. He said, and you should be hearing from his mom, Miss Robbie, or however he worded it. She was supposed to testify, and she didn't in the end because it wasn't going to help their case. It was actually going to make things worse. I'm surprised, Miss Rob. Okay, so we kind of covered that. Yeah, it was going to make things worse. So again, we thought it. They kept saying it. We thought it was going to be the second day, and every day we were waiting. It was like, oh, maybe she's going to testify tomorrow, and then it was points they say, oh, she's testifying on this day. It was supposed to be that. I remember that Friday of that first week she was supposed to. It was a big thing, like, oh, Miss Robbie testifying tomorrow. She never did. And then I think by that Monday, if I could have the dates wrong, but she then just started showing up. I got to find my old notes. I don't know what those notebooks are, but she started showing up in the courtroom, and we knew then there's no way she's testifying. So some stuff went down behind the scenes for sure. Is Tim still trying to appeal? Yes, he has not exhausted his appeals yet. He is definitely still trying to appeal. Christian, thank you so much for the super chat. Could you see Tim? Did he look at anyone testifying? Yes, Tim. Yes, I could see Tim during most of the trial. Well, I could see him through the entire trial, depending on whose head was blocking my view at the moment. But I don't know, y'all. I got it in my notes from when I was doing the recap, so I was letting y'all know those levels of detail. I can't remember off the top of my head who he was looking at, when, at what point right now. But yes, he definitely was looking at people. Have any jurors reached out to you? No, I've never had anyone reach out to me. I did have, there was one juror who was in the chat, well, supposedly, because somebody said they were a juror, and they were in the chat during one of my lives after he was convicted. But, you know, I stated in the video, like, hey, reach out to me. And I never heard anything. And with YouTube, back then, you couldn't add anybody. You couldn't get to them. You couldn't message them or whatever. So, but that's the only sighting I've heard or seen. I'm so glad Miss Robbie's messages were revealed. Did Robbie apologize to Miss Griggs? No, she has not. Speaking of Miss Robbie, well, first of all, I'm gonna let bring our cast, our VPL cast up. Thank you all for your great work as usual. Really appreciate you volunteering your time. So first, I'm gonna bring up, if you have any final words to say to our audience, and then I got a little. I'll play a little something for y'all before we close out. But I'm gonna bring up Precious first. If you have anything, oh, you already. What am I talking about? Bring up. But
thank you everybody for putting up my shenanigans and different voices and just being here every night. Thanks.
We appreciate you. All right, I'm gonna drop you down. And then Robert, thank you so much for your work as Michael Leonard.
I have greater enthusiasm for the justice system after going through this. It increases my my knowledge and familiarity a great deal about the communication that goes on in a courtroom.
And it's a little bit like a TV show or a soap opera at the same time. It's a lot. It's a lot of ups and downs and twists and turns and plots. Well, thank you so much, Robert. And then I'm gonna drop you down. Then I'm gonna bring up. Well, I keep saying bring up. Margin, you have the floor. Thank you, friend.
Thank you so much, and I apologize again for misreadings and stuff. But yeah, it's. I think this whole thing makes Miss Robbie look really worse than. I mean, every time I read, she looks worse and worse than the last time. But as far as kids, if I could bring up, Robert forgot to bring up his daughter. Robert has 5 kids, and he has about 7 or 8 grandkids, and he calls them grand because he says that grandkids are supposed to be better than your kids, and he loves them more. So one of his daughters is a singer. She actually can, unlike Tim, she can sing. And I'll put her thing at the end of the video. I don't know how to do it now, but her name is Latasha Shinwell. If anybody could follow, people on here could follow her later, and I'll put her thing on after the video ends. But she can actually sing. She could sing from age 2. Robert's daughter.
Okay, you should be able to put it in the chat now. So I would suggest you put it in the chat. I'm gonna drop you down. Put it in the chat, and then also you can put it in the comments section under this video. So yes, please follow. What does she have when you say follow? Is it social media or YouTube or what?
YouTube. She has Instagram and YouTube, and her music is on YouTube. And she's Robert. Robert plays saxophone, and he taught her how to sing from age 2. So she can actually sing.
I love it.
So and Robert plays saxophone.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm gonna drop you down and go ahead and put it in the chat as the links in the chat as well as under
Okay.
the video in the comments section.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you all. All right, so yeah, definitely support. We like to support our VPO extended family. And then for some of you, I know that you may be aware that I posted today a video of Miss Robbie. I just ran into it on social media, popped up that Miss Robbie is she's back. She's back with a new single, and I'm gonna play the play us out with my 60-second reel about I'm looking at the chat. Let me not look at the chat. Precious, stop acting up. But anyway, tomorrow we will do this again. I gotta figure it out, y'all. Because I got other content that we need to cover as well. So I'll figure it out. Let me sleep on it and figure it out. But I do need to be able to get some of our other content in, because this transcript reading, the reenactment, is gonna take a few weeks, and I cannot give up all our evenings for the next few weeks. So what I'll do, I'll figure it out. I'll figure out a good schedule, and maybe we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. And then I also got to consider that we have a cast as well. So, and I also want to get this done as soon as possible so we can move on. But with that, I'm gonna close y'all out. Thank you to everyone who has participated. Thank you to my mods. I'm like, I knew it was something else. Thank you to my mods, Precious G, Alice Blessed Child of God. I saw Marlena B, and anyone else that Deshaun, and anybody else that I may have missed. I greatly appreciate your extra work. And with that, I'm going to throw in this video just in case you haven't seen. Where is it? Oh, I'm doing a screen share. No, maybe I should do it this way. Hold on, y'all. My bad. I was about to do it one way, and then I think it's going to be better this way for sound. Yeah, I think it'll sound clearer. Here we go. It looks like Miss Robbie is back with another single. At first, she was asking you, isn't her stuff good enough? And now she's letting you know in a video that has been released on her social media that she is the boss lady. In part of the lyrics of the song, she lets you know that I do what I want to do because I'm a boss lady.
And out in my Louis, I got the skills to pay my own damn bills. Ain't too much can faze me. I'm living hate-free. I do what I want to do because I'm the boss lady.
And the caption under the video says, Boss Ladies, our new anthem is on the way to empower and celebrate you. And it looks like Miss Robbie has not given up on her dream of becoming the oldest female artist to win a Grammy Award. Do you think this is the song that's gonna do it for her? So let me know what you think in the comments. All right, that's all I got. I ain't staying on here because y'all gonna try to get me in trouble. Y'all gonna be doing too much. But anyway, we will see you tomorrow, 7:15 Central, 8:15 Eastern. And with that, until next time, until we see each other in the next reenactment. Oh, and I am going to live tomorrow for some other stuff. So we're gonna go. I forgot. We're gonna go live a little bit before the reenactment with another live stream. I'll put out the notification, so make sure you're part of the VIP text community and also Facebook, so you can see that. But it'll probably be somewhere around 5 p.m. Central-ish. All right, so I will talk to y'all later. Make sure to take care and be blessed. Peace.